I had talked to the applicant, and we do recommend utilizing a brick or stacked stone appearance for that outside of the building. The applicant is understanding of that, and he is aware that at this time of the Plan Commission that it will need to be in accordance with that design review manual. The building is also showing a awning overhang, which is approximately 5 feet. This has also been communicated and understood by the applicant that this awning will need to be in compliance with the appropriate setbacks at the time. It is a vacant tract, so there's no reason for that awning to overhang over the setback line. So I was in discussion with him, and he is aware that that building can be moved back or the awning can be reduced in size to meet setbacks. Public Works has also recommended one of two options for the access point, which comes off of Potomac Place: a left-right in and a left-right out, or utilizing a left-right in and a right-out only. Upon completion of Genie Lane extension at Potomac Place, the entrance shall be modified to the latter of utilizing the left and right in and the right out only, due to the proximity of the multiple intersections in close proximity to one another. In addition, there is along the eastern property line, there is a road that connects Prudential Drive to that future Genie Lane, and Public Works has indicated they would like that to be a private road or have it relocated with those proposed vacuums on that side, due to potentially becoming a cut-through for vehicles getting from Sam Ridley up to Genie Lane. Once again, I did talk to the applicant on this, and he did indicate that it is their intention to utilize that as a private street. Section 7.060B of the zoning ordinance detail requirements for authorizing special exceptions, and they are detailed below. A conditional use permit special exception shall be provided the board finds that it is A, so designed, located, and proposed to be operated so the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. Staff finds the proposed use of a car wash should not negatively affect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. B, will not adversely affect other property in the area. Staff finds that the proposed use should not adversely affect other properties within the surrounding area. Other properties are zoned commercial, and the closest residence is about 440 feet away from this site. Is within the provisions of special exceptions as set forth in the zoning ordinance. Section 5.052.2C lists car washes and automobile detailing as a special exception within this district. Conforms to all applicable provisions of the ordinance for the district in which it is to be located, as well as provisions cited in section 7.060 and 7.061, and is necessary for the public convenience and the location planned. Staff finds the site may be able to conform to all applicable provisions of the zoning ordinance as listed in criteria review section 7.060C. Ingress and egress to the property as proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access to the site in case of fire or catastrophe. As proposed, the site would use 3 entrances and exits, one on Potomac, Prudential, and Genie Lane extension from Wolverine Trail, which this Genie Lane extension I'm referencing would connect Wolverine to Potomac Place. Staff has concerns regarding the entrance off Potomac Place being a left and right in and out with the future Genie Lane extension connecting to Potomac Place. Upon completion, staff would recommend the entrance become a left-right in and a right-out only. The proposal to connect Prudential Drive and Genie Lane also creates issues that roadway could be used as a cut-through with vehicles driving immediately alongside customers who are using the vacuums for the vehicles without any buffer to separate that roadway from their vehicles. 2, off-street parking and loading area were required with particular attention to items 1 above and the economic noise, vibrations, glare, odor, effects, and special exception on or by adjoining properties and properties generally in or near the district. Staff finds the lot would provide sufficient space for parking as surrounded by other commercially zoned properties. Refuse and service areas. A refuse collection will need to be coordinated with a company for collection and added for a dumpster location to serve the site. Utilities with reference to location, availability, and compatibility. This location will have all the necessary utilities available when Genie Lane extension is completed. Screening and buffering with reference to dimension and character. A buffer is not applicable in this instance, being all the surrounding properties are zoned commercial. The applicant has indicated they would like to install a fence along the eastern property line, which is adjoining that church right there. Staff would recommend they utilize a landscaping buffer rather than a fence, which would just create more visually appealing appearance than a fence would. 6, signs if any and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic, safety, and economic effect, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. Staff finds proposed car wash will fit the compatibility with properties in the same district in reference to the above effects. Required yard and open space. Staff finds there is adequate space on this property as it is currently a vacant site. General compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. Staff finds the use may be compatible with adjacent properties, once again as there are other commercial properties in the surrounding area. Number 9 is not applicable in this case. In conclusion, staff finds that this property is surrounded by other commercially zoned properties, so it would fit the overall area. The applicant would like to create a buffer along the eastern property line, so first off, staff would recommend utilizing landscaping rather than a fence to create a more visual appearance. For the entrance off Potomac Place, it may remain a full-service ingress and egress with that right in, left in, and right out, left out until that Genie Lane extension is completed, in which case the entrance shall become a left and right in and a right out only. Furthermore, staff would recommend that the proposed road connecting Prudential Drive to Genie Lane be a private road, or that the vacuums and parking area be relocated elsewhere on the property if it will be a public roadway due to the proximity to those vacuums and the overall site flowing. A couple pictures. This is just to give a visual of what the site looks like so I can kind of take you around the site with the pictures. The first picture I took is sitting right around here in the church parking lot. So looking at the site. And then this is the bank. I'm standing in front of the bank at their exit. That entrance would probably be sitting right around here. I'm guessing about 15, 20 feet away from this ingress and egress is where that entrance to the car wash would be located. Just taking our picture looking straight at the site. Once again, that entrance would probably be sitting right around here in this general vicinity. And then this is across the street. This is probably roughly in the general vicinity of where that Genie Lane extension would be connecting into Potomac Place, and that site is sitting right here. This is the elevations that we discussed. This is the overhang, that 5-foot overhang I mentioned earlier, as well as that textured block material that they originally had proposed. Just for a little bit better visual, this is showing how the overall site would blend into the existing roadways. This is Prudential Drive right here. It's currently stubs out. And then Genie Lane hasn't even been started yet this time. Currently Public Works is in the right-of-way acquisition process, so after that gets done, they'll put the project out for bidding and then hopefully start soon thereafter, but there's no timeline on as far as when that project will start yet. So currently it's nothing there, but this is just how it would overall blend in with the future completed roadway project. That's what I got for you.
Okay. Thank you, Mitch. Taking a couple of notes down. All right, any questions or comments from the board before we go to a public hearing?
I do have a question for Jeff, if I could, before we go to a public hearing. And it would be on the staff recommendations. If we read those, if there was a motion to approve this special exception, and we wanted those to be conditions rather than recommendations, if we were to read them as that, would that be better, or is it unnecessary to do that?
I think if you wanted to follow all of those recommendations, you would just say in your motion to follow the staff's recommendations.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had the same question though, because in the staff recommendations, there's kind of options. Either a private drive or moving the vacuums, a fence or landscaping. So that's why I wasn't sure if we could just.
Well, if there's particulars that you want, then I would say for sure that out of those that you just stated, whether it was moving the vacuums, whether it's a private road.
Gotcha.
Seems like it's well said about the recommendation about
Yeah, the
left
fence.
in, right in.
Yeah, yeah.
And all that, but
Okay.
if there's something that you would prefer to see, or if you want it to be an option, either one, but.
Gotcha. Okay. Then the other question I had is currently Prudential doesn't cross, right? It's basically a right in, right out only right now.
Onto Sam Ridley.
Sam Ridley.
I believe so.
Yeah, and no future plans for that to change. I was considering, and I guess this is the part, Jeff, that I was getting to, is the decision on whether or not that becomes a public road or not. Is that fully on the applicant? How does that work? Because I can see the benefit of having that be a cut through to Genie Lane, but since Prudential doesn't cross Sam Ridley and will never cross Sam Ridley, I'm not sure how efficient it would be anyway.
Well, the town would have to accept it, obviously.
Yeah,
So anything like that, we would have to accept through the planning commission as well.
if we had a plan in the future or decided in the future that it helped or made sense, then we could deal with it at that point as far as land acquisition and coming to them for an offer, et cetera, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So simply speaking, an approval, should we decide to do so on the special exception, with staff recommendations, does put those as part of it, right? That's enough.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
just want to be sure, because those recommendations are pretty important that they stick with the special exception.
And
Okay.
if there's particulars in there of those options that you want to see, you need to call those out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then site plan will basically handle the rest of that, to be honest.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Anybody else? All right, at this time, we'll close the Board of Zoning Appeals and open a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak for or against this request. If you would, state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Rocky Crossland. My address is 9652 Boswell Court in Brentwood, Tennessee. Couple of the issues that were brought up. One, the overhang on the building. I've worked with the building manufacturer that we use. We've already shortened that to 2 feet to be in compliance with what Mitch was requiring on that. I do have some updated drawings that are hot off the press. I got them about an hour ago. So I'll be glad to share those with you so you can see that the intention is to shorten that overhang to 2 feet.
Okay.
The faux fixtures that we use around the bottom, which is a split face block in the design. I've talked to the building manufacturer, and we're going to move that. That'll be some sort of a stacked stone, which would be in compliance with what we're going to do. We're not, whether it's stacked stone or split face block or a brick finish, we're fine with any of those.
Perfect.
The screening along the eastern part of the property, we put that in primarily because we're sensitive to the fact that we're a car wash, and a lot of people categorize that or stereotype that in a bad light. So we want to make sure that we put something in there and that we're being good neighbors with the church next door. We're fine with that being a landscape buffer across there that would meet whatever specs the city would need. The roadway connecting future Genie Lane and Sam Ridley or Prudential there, we would propose that be a private road. If that were to change in the future, then you guys could do whatever you needed to do with it, obviously, but we're proposing at this point that would be a private road that we would be responsible for maintenance and upkeep on.
Okay, perfect.
That complies with this.
A couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention as well. We've been in business for 13 years in Franklin, Tennessee. We got 3 car washes in Franklin, and we have 1 up in West Nashville. All of our car washes are kept in tip-top shape. We spend a lot of money annually on upkeep, maintenance, and appearance. All of our car washes, even the one that's 14 years old now, pretty much looks like it did the day we opened. That's something that we believe in. It's something that we continue to do, and I think it helps the image in the community. Plus, it also helps our business, right? So, couple of things with the other car washes. This car wash would have more stacking capability than any car wash that we have. We're estimating 50 to 60 cars could be stacked on this property before anything will be backed out onto public roads. Currently, we don't have any issues with cars backing out on our public roads, and the most we have is about 24 units that can stack on any property, and that's down in Franklin. And part of the key to that is the throughput of our tunnel. We're proposing a 130-foot conveyor with a 110-foot building. That conveyor can run probably 180 cars an hour. So the throughput, the car wash is not the holdup. With 60 cars staged on the lot, we can move through that and turn that at least 3 times, if not more, per hour. So our other car washes all have 2 what we call pay heads, where you pull up and you choose your rate plan and you make a payment. We're proposing 3 on this site, and the reason is because this site is a bit unique, and it will have 3 entrances and 3 exits, and that's very unique for a car wash property. That gives us a lot more capability to bring cars on and get cars off quickly without causing any stacking issues. But we also felt that having 3 pay heads would allow that to go even faster and service the customers without any cross-traffic issues on our lot. There's one concern that always comes up with car washes, which is noise. So I'd like to address sound abatement for just a second. We're proposing 2 central vacuum systems, and those central vacuum systems would have mufflers on them, silencers, if you will, to keep the noise down. If you were as far as me to you and you were talking in a normal voice, you'd be able to hear each other. The central vacuum systems typically put out less than 25 decibels of sound with the silencers on them. So that's typically not the loudest part of a car wash, believe it or not. It's the blowers at the end of the tunnel, because they do create a huge amount of noise. Usually in a car wash design, the blowers are at the very bitter end of the building, and it allows that sound to escape. We design our tunnels a little differently. We move all the blowers 40 feet into the building, and we have another machine at the end that dries the cars. It's got big wraps, and it's got like chamois type material that dries the cars as they leave. That mitigates our need for more blowers and more sound. But by moving them 40 feet into the building actually absorbs the sound and mitigates the sound escaping from the tunnel. Most car washes don't have that, and it causes a lot of sound to be bled out of the exit into the tunnel.
Good.
So just some things that I wanted to...
What are your proposed hours of operation?
Our current proposed hours, we have 2 sets of hours. We have summer hours and winter hours. It's 8 to 7 during the summer, and we go 8 to 6 in the winter.
So shut down by 7 at the latest.
7's the latest, and that's typically from when the time changes and springs forward to when it falls back. And those are our summer hours, and it's daylight till 8:30, 9 o'clock. So we stay open till 7, but we're closed well before dark.
I got you. Okay. The only other question that I think I've got for you, I think you've addressed a lot of my questions. I had some notes, and you pretty much hit 3 or 4 of my topics.
Good.
The only question I've got really is the private drive, and when I'm looking at your drawing, although you may or may not be planning this, it's going to end up as a cut through because there's going to be people coming out of the back of the bank, and they're going to see they can turn left and cut through and get to Genie Lane. So how are you prepared for that?
How would they cut out of the bank?
Not the bank, I'm sorry, I don't know what that building is, the strip mall, I guess it's directly beside you.
Yeah, it's a strip mall with the nail.
Yeah, they have an exit onto Prudential, and, if Prudential goes all the way to Genie, it won't take much for people to figure out they can turn left and go out that way, and I just don't know, with the way your vacuums are on the drawing on that side of the road, is that gonna create some sort of problem with people are coming out of that car wash and then crossing that, even if it's a private drive, they're still crossing traffic essentially, not, I guess it's your traffic but still, they're still crossing to get to those vacuums.
So, I'd be willing to work with the city and figure out what type of options we could have, whether that's speed bumps on the property to control the speed of traffic coming through there, to make it a safer cross-through, signage that says this is not a cut-through.
Yeah.
Even though you're right, they're probably going to try and treat it that way. So I think from signage and maybe speed bumps or any other ideas that the city and planning might have, we're open to any ideas that would go through there.
Okay.
So typically on our properties, at the end of the evening, we also put up chains across the entrance of our property, just to keep traffic off of our properties after hours. So that would be something that we could also put up for an after hours thing. It's yellow chain that
Yeah.
just, it's not like a big log chain or anything. It's
Right.
more to keep an honest person honest and not drive through there, so. But they're typically made out of plastic so that they don't damage vehicles or anything.
Okay, yeah, I think, if it's a private drive, then obviously speed bumps or anything like that would be something that you could do, and I think that's a good idea. That's kind of what I was looking for, to see how your thoughts were, because I think people are going to try it.
Yeah.
They may be successful, they may not, but also I don't want them, trying to hit 30 miles an hour through your parking lot, basically, right? So.
Well, I think if we put speed bumps at each end of where we would go out to Genie Lane and where we would join on our side, where we would
Right.
join Prudential.
Right where your
Right where ours starts, and
Yeah.
it would be on our side of the property, we could put speed bumps in there to definitely control the speed with which they go through there, and I think that would mitigate
Yeah.
some of the risk, anyway, associated with cars backing across that.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Crosland?
That was my question too.
Crossland. Sorry, we have a Crosland local,
Was
so.
just the speed of cars that might be coming
Yeah.
out and pulling. That was the exact question I had. So speed bumps would, and then we can find out when we're talking, is that something we need to speak to at this point? Do we need to talk about that? Just,
Yeah, if it's a private road, I guess it's up to them. So if our motion was to leave it private, then we wouldn't have to talk about speed bumps. If the motion was to make it public, then we'd have to have more conversation anyway, so. Does that make sense?
yeah, because if it goes public, the vacuums obviously can't go there. You have
Yeah,
to move
well,
that
there's-
location, which is another
Yeah,
option.
there's more options that the other members of the town staff would have to get involved as well, beyond this meeting. Okay. Anybody else? Scott? Jay? All right. Thank you, Mr. Croswell.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak for or against? Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Lee. I live in Brentwood, Tennessee, but I'm from Smyrna, Tennessee. I just want to say that that development has really almost been a joint venture between Smyrna and David Bowman and myself. It's been something we worked really hard on. Smyrna's been so great to work with, everybody here. When David called me first and said a car wash, I said, no, I don't think so. And we looked at it, but then when he said Miles, Miles is in an area that I go, and it's just a real classy operation, and we work with them. They've worked real hard, and we'll work real hard to do that, and to make it, if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd pick. So everything that's gonna go in that development, we're real touchy and picky, and you'll see some things coming that are gonna be real soon, and all of it's gonna look really, really top shelf, like it would be approved by any planning commission anywhere, and certainly in the whole metro Nashville area, in Green Hills or anywhere. So I just wanted you to know that we also have experience in the business in that we have a company that washes school buses. We wash all the metro school buses, so we've got an idea of what a good operation is, and I just want to vouch for it and say that we're proud of Miles and hope you guys will approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's actually the first time anybody mentioned the name Miles. I was wondering when you were speaking if it was Miles. I work.
It's my.
I'm being quiet.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious. I work at Franklin, so I'm familiar with Miles. I was kind of curious, but the pictures didn't really look like what I was expecting, so I wasn't sure. So, okay. Sounds good. Anybody else that would like to speak for or against? Seeing no one, we'll close the Board of Zoning Appeals and close the public hearing, reopen the Board of Zoning Appeals for discussion and a motion.
Well, I believe looking at the staff recommendations, really the last, as written, that covers the exact thing we just discussed. If it's going to be a private road, that's one issue, or the vacuums on the parking, and that's not for us to worry about. We're just approving that we can start this process.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, I'll just kind of go ahead and speak. It sounds like Mr. Crossland has put a lot of thought into what he's proposing. Some of the questions that I know that I would have and other council members would have would be stacking, and it sounds like we've got plenty of that, probably more than any other car wash in town. I think that the design, the layout, the location, we have other commercial type car washes on Sam Ridley. The distance from residential fits. So, those are usually the things that we look at. Does it fit the location? Does it fit the area? Has he considered traffic and noise? And I think he's done all of those things. I don't see a particular concern with the product based on the staff's recommendation. So if we've got a motion, unless you've got a different opinion.
No, I'll move to approve the special exception, and that is based on including all staff recommendations, and just to say a couple of those, utilizing the landscaping rather than the fencing, and I know that's something you've already talked about and addressed. For the entrance off Potomac Place, remaining a full service ingress egress until Genie Lane is extended and completed, in which case the entrance shall become a left, right, in, and right out only. And the last thing we just covered, which was the recommendation that the proposed road connecting Prudential to Genie Lane be a private road, or that the vacuums and parking be relocated elsewhere on the property if it ends up becoming a public roadway.
Correct. All right. We have a motion. Anybody would like to second that motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor of approving the special exception, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, excellent. One more point, Kevin. I think I know this, but the Genie Lane extension that we're referencing is at least, what, 2 years out, probably 18 months to 2 years?
Less than that.
Less than that? Okay.
We've got it in the next year's budget.
Okay, so it's in 2022's budget. Okay, all right. Just to give you that information of kind of timeline. All right, excellent, thank you. The next item on our agenda is another special exception for Scott Finley.
This is another special exception to allow a car wash within the C2 zone. Currently, it's at the existing 301 Wolverine Trail. The property is zoned C2 and is approximately 2.88 acres in size. Surrounding zoning consists of C2 and R6, which is to the north. As existing, the site has 2 commercial office buildings on site, and with this proposal, one of those 2 buildings, the one closest to Wolverine Trail, will be demolished. Genie Lane and Wolverine Trail intersection is proposed to be realigned with the addition of a roundabout. They are proposing for 1 ingress and egress off of Wolverine Drive, nearby where it currently is existing. 3 queue lanes would support approximately 30 vehicles, narrowing to a single aisle upon entering the building. Building elevations show a predominantly brick building with varying colors, along with a aluminum accent at the entrance and exits of the structure. Section 7.060B of the zoning ordinance detail requirements for authorizing special exceptions, and they are detailed as follows. A conditional use permit shall be provided that the board finds that it is A, so designed, located, and proposed to be operated so that the public health, safety, and welfare be protected. Staff finds proposed use of a car wash should not negatively affect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. B, will not adversely affect other property in the area. Staff finds proposed use does have the potential to adversely affect other properties in the surrounding area due to the noise produced from this compared to what is currently existing with those commercial office buildings. The building would be situated approximately 190 feet from those townhomes to the north. The applicant states they do utilize maximum insulation around the blowers at the end of the structure, which would reduce any kind of residual sound that comes from it. The future Genie Lane extension would also act as a separation or a buffer between this car wash and those townhomes. C is within provisions of special exceptions as set forth in the ordinance. Section 5.052.2C lists car wash and automobile detailing as a special exception in this district. D conforms to all applicable provisions of this ordinance for the district in which it is to be located, as well as provisions cited in section 7.060 and 7.061, and is necessary for public convenience and location planned. Staff finds the site may be able to conform to all provisions of the municipal zoning ordinance as listed in criteria review section 7.060C. Ingress and egress to the property and proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in site in case of fire or catastrophe. Access to the site is proposed to utilize 1 primary entrance and exit off of Wolverine Trail with the secondary access off of Genie Lane. These proposed entrances would not affect that secondary building that will be remaining on this site. 2 off-street parking and loading areas were required with particular attention at items 1 above with the economic noise, vibrations, glare, or odor effects of special exception on or by adjoining properties and properties generally in or near the district. Staff finds that the business has potential to increase traffic onto the property than currently exists, thus more noise for surrounding property owners, which is more so notably that residential district to the north. Albeit this residential district is currently abutting another commercial zone on basically two of the four sides. 3 refuse and service areas. Refuse collection may proceed in the same manner as it is currently. 4 utilities with reference to location, availability, and compatibility. This location does have access to gas, water, and is serviced currently by a private sewer line. Upon completion of the Genie Lane extension, that private sewer line would be abandoned and serviced by a new public sewer line. Screening and buffering with reference to type, dimension, and character. North of the subject property is a residentially zoned property, which would normally require a type C buffer in the zoning ordinance, which would be required for that developer to install it upon building of that site. However, with that Genie Lane extension being proposed in this area, the staff would recommend that developer adhere to the design review manual requirements for streetscaping, being it's going to be fronting Genie Lane rather than that townhome development. Signs, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. Staff finds proposed use of an auto wash will fit the compatibility with properties in the same district in reference to these above effects. And if there is any lighting on this site, it may not shine beyond those property lines. Required yard and open space. Staff finds there is adequate space on this lot to support a car wash in addition to the other uses present at the site. General compatibility with adjacent properties, another property in the district. Staff finds that the use may not be compatible with adjacent townhome development. However, there are other commercial uses present on this parcel and adjoining parcels as well. And number 9 is not applicable in this case. And in conclusion, the staff finds the majority of the surrounding properties are commercially zoned, and it is still commercially zoned at this time, and it would fit those uses. With Genie Lane extension, in lieu of a Type C buffer, which would normally be required, staff would recommend the applicant install streetscaping in compliance with the design review manual upon development of this site. This is coming into the site, looking at that existing building, which is proposed to be demolished with this plan.
Is this I'm having trouble placing, is this the building directly behind the gas station? Used to be Dr.
Yes.
Rudd's property? Okay.
This is looking out, this is that current existing intersection with Genie and Wolverine. That roundabout is proposed to be somewhere in this general vicinity. This is one of those entrances that would be remaining for the site to be utilizing. If you look at it from an aerial shot, this is kind of going up to the Waffle House right here, and you have the gas station in this back corner. This would be one of those entrances that this back property would be using to gain access to their site. Just looking at a different angle.
That's the building that would be
This is the demolished one,
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
And this is the one
Yeah,
that
the one on
is
the left is the
remaining.
one that would remain.
Correct.
Gotcha, okay.
This is, once again, this is that building that would be demolished. I'm standing in front of that building that would be remaining. Kind of going out this way is where another one of those entrances onto Genie would be located at. Couple of elevations of what that applicant has proposed with that all brick being used right here, and then just kind of an accent aluminum material. And once again, just more brick on the sides as well. Just to kind of give you a visual of how that would look with that proposed Genie Lane relocation project. Obviously, this is as existing with that intersection shifted up this way. So as I was referencing with the townhome property to the north, you would then more or less have the future Genie Lane act as a buffer between the car wash and the townhome project. So right here in this general location is where we would be recommending that streetscaping be installed rather than that Type C buffer, due to that future Genie Lane being in the nearby future to be installed. And that's all I got for you.
All right, excellent. Real quick, this is special exception only. There's no, based on the drawings that the applicant provided, it looks like they're adhering to the 35-foot setbacks on both sides.
Yes.
That's correct, okay, perfect. They're in one drawing that they provided, it looks like maybe a dumpster that would be in that right of way. Is that allowed? The very first picture, bottom right corner.
Yeah, you're talking about right down here. trying to see where those setback lines are at.
I think the line that's right at the exit of their building that says existing, and then you can't see what else it says. I think that says existing setback line, because it's got the 35-foot arrow pointing to the line from the street. Yeah. So I think the dumpster is, the left side of the dumpster is on the line, basically. If you're or right side if you're facing the dumpster.
Right there. Yeah, so I mean, if it's on the line, it's, or on the setback line you're talking about, correct?
Yeah.
It'd be good to go.
But it's in the setback. It's the left side, so the whole dumpster's in the setback.
And we can either A, address that at site plan, have them move it, relocate it back, or B,
Okay.
if y'all want to grant them some kind of a setback variance as well, we could do so. I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly what that dimension is
Yeah.
right there,
Okay,
but we can address that at planning commission.
gotcha. Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments from the board? All right, we'll close the Board of Zoning Appeals and open a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak for or against the request. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Scott Finley, and my wife and I are the owners. Tommy's Express Car Wash. It's a national franchise. We've had our first location open in Murfreesboro for a little over a year. We opened up actually the week of March when the pandemic hit.
Great timing.
So we were a little nervous, but we've done real well. Murfreesboro actually voted us the best car wash. We won a Ruthie's. We're pretty proud of that. I'm third generation Marine Corps. We live in Rutherford County. Our second location is going to be open in July on Memorial. Tommy's Express, within 3 years, will be the biggest national franchise nationwide. And the Essenberg family who runs it, Mr. Essenberg actually was voted into the Car Wash Hall of Fame last year. It's a pretty big deal. But they're first-class family, and everything they do is top shelf. And, you know, I invite you to come by our sites. Our sites are pristine. We spend about an extra $400,000 to $500,000 to even go above and beyond franchise standards. We put in colored concrete, which is gray in color. So when the cars exit the wash, you don't see those tire marks. Our wash looks brand new. We actually have special windows coating at our car wash. I invite you guys to come down to see our locations. We're on-site owner-operators. My wife, it's her birthday today. We actually flew back from Florida early to be here, so apologize for the beach attire.
That's all right.
But, you know, we're passionate about what we do, and you can go online, look at the reviews. My wife's actually trending. She's just fabulous. Everyone loves her. Everyone knows her. I just want to mention one thing also. We're vested in our community. Before we even opened, we pledged, we're a legacy level sponsor with the Blackman High School. Our logo's on the field. We pledged to give them over 6 figures, and we started writing them checks for 5 and 6 figures before we even opened. So we're very actively involved in the community, and we'd like to do the same here if the opportunity was allowed. But we're there every single day. It's our passion, it's our life. Our kids work there, and I can't say enough about the national franchise and the owners, the Essenbergs. It's first class. We're willing to. We've worked with the building and codes department in Murfreesboro, and never had any problems. Our materials are first class. The look of it is. The quality of the wash is first class. I can't say enough about it. In our 3 lanes, I do want to mention this. Lanes 2 and 3 are for members only. There are no pay stations. So we can process 200 to 230 cars an hour, and we're already doing that. We have the moving conveyor belt also. So when the members come up, you don't have to wait with somebody fumbling with their credit card if their card's bad or whatever. So lanes 2 and 3 to keep no one can process as many cars as we do. So lane 1, we do have a cashier for non-members, but lanes 2 and 3 are members only. So, and that really keeps the speed of the rate we can process at the highest that there is available. But we're real proud of our building. I'd even sent Mitchell some of the pictures of the ones that's getting ready to open. But we're willing to do anything and everything to be part of the community and be here when, I mean, we'll be here every single day when we're here. We'll be at all the stores. I'll be, this will be our third one if everything goes well. And my wife's born and raised in Rutherford County, went to Riverdale. I mean, just, this is our home. So we love our county, and we saw this opportunity, and we wanted to extend. This would be our third and final location. And we actually own the rights to Rutherford County with the Tommy's Group. But that's it. If you have any questions, we're here.
Okay.
But I just wanted to mention a couple of those things.
I appreciate that. I do have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
It says in, I think, I'm seeing it in staff analysis, it may be in your application. that
Yes, sir.
You guys can handle approximately 30 vehicles stacking.
Yes, sir.
How does that compare to your current locations in Murfreesboro? From a stacking perspective, do you have about the same amount there?
It's
And are
approximately
you
the
having
same.
any trouble
Absolutely
staying out of
not.
the street?
We've never had a problem with stacking issues ever. No, sir.
Okay.
So.
So you think 30 is sufficient based on your
Oh,
previous?
absolutely. Oh, yeah, it's more than sufficient. We could actually get away with 20. Like I said, the lanes 2 and 3, literally, you come up, our license plate, we have license plate recognition, that you don't have to have an RFID sticker. The camera reads your license plate, the gate arm literally pops up. So we can have 5 in the stack, and we can load cars 2 to 3 feet apart. So we literally, it's not like the old chain and roller where you have to wait, every 10,
Right.
15 feet or so. So we can literally process up to 240 cars an hour.
Okay.
So there's stores in Michigan where they've actually processed 3,200 cars in one day. So.
That's a lot of cars.
Yeah, so it's, everything they do is first class. The building, they have patents on their building, the design. So they've got a lot of patents on their equipment. Our equipment, we have actually 2 sets of combo equipment. So we actually put out a great car. So 2 sets of equipment, it's kind of like wash, rinse, repeat. Your car's getting washed twice. And our motors that run all of our equipment, they're not hydraulic, they're electric. So the decimals are about a third of the sound as the hydraulic, so.
Okay.
But
What
everything we
about-
do is first class.
What about the dumpster location down there?
Yeah, if that needs to be moved, just tell us where you want it, no problem. Yeah.
I'm inclined to, my thought is that it needs to be moved inside the setback, but I'll let you guys weigh in on that.
And one thing I
obviously.
can also provide you, I would love for you to see a picture of our dumpster gate. We spent $8,000 on the dumpster gate that actually matches our building. So it's custom, it's really, truly nice. It matches so the entrance and exit of our building, it's kind of a starburst pattern with a black kind of checkered. We did that same kind of black checkered, that same squares, as you see on the sides of it, to match our dumpster gate.
Gotcha.
So we just didn't, everything we do, we go over the top, and we provide a first-class product.
Okay.
So that's very important
So
to
there's
us.
no problem backing that up to me?
Absolutely not, no,
It's just, I
no.
think that would be best
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Just to be consistent.
No problem, yeah, like I said, we're super easy to get along with. We just want to add value to the community, and we think our building does that, and the way we run business does that. And we've proven ourselves already in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and you can check out our online reviews. I think our average review is like a 4.7 or something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, and we were, like I said, we were very pleased that the community voted us. We run a Ruthie being open 6 months, competing against other car washes that's been open 15 or 20 years. So, y'all know Rutherford County, that's kind of a big deal for where we're from. It may not be some, but we're proud of it. So, thank you all for your time.
Tempted to make a statement there, but I'm gonna let it go. I was thinking never mind, I'm not gonna say it. All right, any other questions or comments for Mr. Finley? Well, I'll explain what I was gonna say later.
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody else that would like to speak for or against this request? Not seeing anyone, we'll close the public hearing and reopen the Board of Zoning Appeals for discussion and a motion. My initial thoughts, I like that the building, the exit and entrance of the building is facing away or the opposite directions from the residential. I think the staff analysis recommending streetscape makes sense, since ultimately it is going to be street and not a buffer. I think the dumpster needs to be moved inside. I don't really like the idea of that dumpster being inside the setback that close to Wolverine Trail, and it's really not that far from Sam Ridley, so let's move that. But other than that, so to handle the dumpster, we're not granting a setback variance, is my thought process. That's the only, if we don't grant it, then it has to be there.
Since
So,
it wasn't requested, do we have to speak to it?
I don't think we have to say anything.
Would it be best if we just mention to when they resubmit the site plan to make sure the dumpster's been moved to meet the setback?
You can, I
just
don't
to say
think it has to be part of the motion, but yeah, I think that'd be
It's
fine.
more so the use of what we're
Yeah.
discussing.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else, different opinion, different questions, comments?
No.
Troy's been kind of quiet. We prayed you out. All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and move to approve the special exception. And I'll go ahead and include staff recommendation that with the Genie Lane extension in lieu of type C landscape buffer, the staff recommends the applicant install streetscaping in compliance with the design review manual.
Excellent. We have a motion, a second,
second.
and a second. All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved. Next item, number 6, is staff comments or other business. Anything, Mitch or Jeff?
I'm good.
No? With that, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.